Gun-toting men arrested by security forces in Tari. 3 million kina grant with ADB for priority relief. And making it easier to report corruption.
This is the National EMTV News with Meribah Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Wednesday's news. 2 men were arrested yesterday afternoon near Tari town for being in possession of an unlicensed firearm. The suspects have been detained at Tari police cell block and have also been refused bail. Since the joint security forces began operations on Sunday, roadblocks have been conducted with similar arrests being made.
The 2 male suspects were arrested along the Nanondi highway near Tari town. They were caught by MS-11 Wabek, who were manning a roadblock. The suspects will be formally charged today for carrying bullets and a Magnum handgun, from which police believe to be United States Army issued. This is the second time in a week police have confiscated and apprehended suspects for carrying unlicensed firearms and live ammunition. Police have also confiscated other weapons such as bush knives and axes. The joint security forces will be conducting roadblocks to stop the payback attacks and killings in Tari town. Provincial Police Commander Martin Lakari said the township is silent and businesses have returned to normalcy after 7 people were killed in a series of payback attacks in Tari town. The joint forces will continue roadblocks and monitoring hotspots areas until peace is restored. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The government has signed a 3 million kina grant agreement with the Asian Development Bank to help fund priority relief and restoration activities of earthquake-affected provinces. The agreement was signed by ADB PNG Country Director David Hill and Deputy Prime Minister Charles Abel. Mr. Abel, on behalf of the government, commended the ADB for their support and said the funds will be put directly to continued relief efforts. Abel said substantial amounts of funding will be put to cover rehabilitation costs for water, roads, electricity, schools, health centers, and other important areas. The grant is part of ADB's Asia Pacific Disaster Response Fund, which Director Hale said is a special fund designated to provide increment grant resources to ADB developing member countries. Nestle has donated 2 40-foot containers of Maggi noodles cartons towards the Hela Southern Highlands and Western Province relief supply efforts. The cartons have a retail value of 140,000 kina. Nestle representatives presented the cartons to the Provincial Disaster Coordinator, Robin Yakum, to be transported to the various provinces.
Life, promoting nutrition in the community, in the products that we distribute and sell. In this unfortunate time in Southern Islands, the company recognized the suffering that our people are going through and would like to support in donating these 2 containers.
About 2,000 people in the North Wagi district in Jiwaka have been affected by flooding. Warramombol burst its banks at 3 a.m. on the 24th of March following continuous heavy rain. The flash flood ripped down the steep banks of the Kwanang stream and washed away the bridge connecting North Wagi with Jimmy districts. The flood killed 3 people and left 2 injured and hospitalized. It also washed away were domestic livestock, 300 houses, a vehicle, food and coffee gardens. As yet, no relief efforts have been directed towards this flood disaster. Concerned Warramombol community members in Port Moresby have now gathered to raise funds and awareness towards relief efforts for the local area. Meanwhile, 5 bales of clothes were delivered to villagers in the Transgogol area in Madang district. The locals, numbering about 150, say their houses were torched following the death of a man last month. One community representative told MTV at least 37 homes were burnt, leaving most of them homeless.
These are the burned-down houses. There were 37 houses torched, affecting at least 150 men, women and children. This community is made up of people from different ethnicity. A community rep in the area, Toby Yagama, says local business Kalibobo Secondhand donated 5 second-hand bags of clothes to those affected.
Now got a family, stop nothing, no one family come up. They right more pass or happily going all business houses or lead up in the meeting, but no come large, no come the only person in respond them caliber was getting clothing and donating first 5 plus second in bail. Or Hamri construction company or donate them on the car. Lo help me belong move more second in bail come long site where we come up.
The affected community members say they had already reported the matter to police for further investigation.
Yes, incident has been reported to the police already. Now police case now. CID taking up the case now.
However, the burning down of houses have left many of them homeless with limited food, water, and even clothes.
House paya mipa house staff bisa mipa mama pikinini mipa staff. Now house paya na mipa kambe ken. Mipa looking mo say mem nogat now. So mipa stop na bout.
Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Medang.
Over 300 people in the North Fly district of Western Province were provided eye care services by a visiting eye specialist team from Mount Hagen Hospital last month. According to Tabubil Hospital Administrator Margaret Same, over 60 patients got eye operations in both Tabubil and Kiunga hospitals. The patients were mainly treated and operated for cataract, a clouding of the lens in the eye, and pterygium, a pinkish triangular tissue growth on the cornea. Same said the medical care provided by the eye specialists was also open to the public in Tabubil, Kiunga and Teleformin areas. The next eye visit is being planned for November this year. The road leading into Bommana Correctional Service Institute will be upgraded soon. This follows an urgent plea last week by the community around the Bommana area and the CIS community on the deteriorating road condition that was worsening by the day due to recent heavy rains. The story was aired on EMTV News, which got the attention of authorities.
The road leading to Bommana has been lacking active maintenance for many years. Today, NCD Governor Powers Pakup and Port Moresby Northeast member and Minister for Housing and Urbanization John Cowper officiated the 9-kilometer road upgrade to Bommana. The contract was awarded to construction company Phoenix.
Basically, we have very important institutions like Bommana Training College and CIS. Here you have this war cemetery up there. So this road is very important to NCDC road maintenance program. Actually, the contract has been awarded to Phoenix Construction, but currently Phoenix is working on the ATS road. So as soon as they're finished, they'll come to this road, probably in 2 months' time.
Senior CIS officer Mone Apo was very impressed with the quick response from NCD Governor and the Northeast MP who had come to the community's aid after their concerns were raised through MTV last week.
Now I'm very happy, glad that the community will have a good time to move in and out of the market and all this. Even this is the biggest prison in the country. And we have been needing this road for the last some years.
Stacey Yellow, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We go for a break now, but we'll be back with more of the day's stories after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. Today marks the 4th week of the suspension of the NCD Dog Unit. The unit was suspended from conducting police operations in Port Moresby due to numerous allegations of misconduct and ill behavior by members of the unit whilst on duty. The suspension was a directive from the NCD Metropolitan Superintendent, Pero Drano, and supported by the police hierarchy.
We are arrested for that.
The suspension is based on numerous public complaints registered at the 8 police stations in Port Moresby. However, it does not affect the involvement of NCD Dog Unit members taking part in the APEC security operation or the normal training of police dogs at Bommana. But while there is a constant discussion between the NCD Metropolitan Command and the Directorate, members of the unit remain grounded from conducting police duties within NCD.
They are banned from operating in NCD. That does not mean that they can do any other work associated with APEC. They are also part of the main unit assisting in APEC. So that is not under my jurisdiction. But they should never be operating in NCD normal operation until, and I've given a simple condition, I want to see return of command and control back in the units, firstly. Secondly, they must assure this command that there will be no more repetition of such activities, illegal activities that are being involved, others to be involved.
The dog unit is a special directorate in the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. It conducts bomb and drug searches, controls crowds, and takes part in major police operations. But the suspension has been described as a bold move to restore command and control. While the suspension of close to 60 police personnel may mean a shortage in manpower, the NCD Metropolitan Superintendent says it is up to the dog unit director to discipline officers involved in those allegations. Deputy Police Commissioner Jim Andrews says the decision is supported by the police hierarchy and the onus is on the director to discipline the officers involved.
Suspension is just a suspension to ensure that whatever done is to be investigated. And if there is no substance in there, well, they can go free, let free. But if there are any matters that link with him, then we can deal with them.
This is the second time in 3 years the NCD dog unit has been suspended from police duties. In 2016, the unit was grounded for almost 6 weeks following a fight involving police recruits.
We all are subject to the rules of law, so if any member of the police, regardless of which section or division they come from, we have to comply to procedures and orders.
And for this suspension, it remains for an indefinite period. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
A new measure has been put in place to combat the mismanagement of public funds. The Department of Finance and United Nations Development Programme today expanded their Phone Against Corruption initiative to 44 government agencies. The Phone Against Corruption concept is to allow public servants and the general public to text a toll-free number to report instances of mismanagement of public funds.
The Phones Against Corruption, trialled in 2014 by the Department of Finance and UNDP, saw over 500 reports to the toll-free number 16321. With over 70 cases in various stages of investigation, 10 have been completed, 5 are before the courts, and 2 have resulted in convictions.
We succeed, but a lot of the time people get off with bad behavior. So we are all in the business of protecting public monies.
Finance Secretary Ken Nangan, who has been behind the initiative since conception in 2014, says it's time the people prevent public funds being stolen instead of waiting for the crimes to be committed.
If you hear anyone planning to commit an offense that would result in fraudulent behavior, drop it in.
Nangan says with this initiative, it shows the need for all spending government agencies to have internal audit committees in place.
In fact, Section 9 of the Public Finance Management Act requires that all spending bodies must have an audit committee. And a lot of our agencies and departments are yet to set up an audit committee.
UNDP representative Tracy Venning says the initiative has received regional and international recognition as an inspiring anti-corruption mechanism.
Number of awards in the region, and globally, Department of Finance and UNDP are getting requests for the PNG government to please show other countries what this is capable of, and I'm sure that PNG is going to be a lead in the region for this.
A workshop was held today on the expansion and had government agencies and development partners in attendance for discussions on ways to improve the concept. Head of National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Office, Matthew Damaru, says an improvement would be getting the public to understand how they should structure their report.
Well, if they can identify people who are in which department and what do they know about it, information like that.
So it helps the investigating authority at least some background information to form a basis to conduct the investigation. Otherwise,
Adelaide Xerox, Transnational, EMTV News.
Mount Hagen City Authority and City Council have agreed to work together to clean the city despite a pending court case over their functions. Yesterday, both parties made awareness that a proper garbage collection program is already in place to keep the city clean. As the APEC Leaders Summit draws closer, authorities say they can leave aside their differences and focus on the economy.
Mount Hagen City Authority Chief Executive Officer Leon Noki said for too long, city residents have been dumping their household garbage in the town area and polluting others. He urged city residents and shops to be mindful of their rubbish. A regular waste collection program is already out, and starting next Monday, the authorities will collect and dump rubbish at the right place. Since the endorsement of the City Authority Act by the National Parliament in 2016, there has been confusion in the functions of the City Council and the City Authority. Two other provinces which have also received the Act are Ley and Kokopo. The establishment of the city authorities is part of the transfer of decision-making and spending from Waigani to these major centers for development purposes. In Hagen City, the pending court case has prevented both parties from performing their duties. However, yesterday both agreed to work together for the betterment of the city. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Papua New Guinea Defence Force will be conducting two separate trainings in preparation for APEC security for the Leaders Summit in November. The first is a course on maritime security, specifically for members of the PNGDF Navy. The other is a drill on firepower demonstrations, which will be conducted by the mortar platoon of the 1st Royal Pacific Islands Regiment. Both activities are scheduled to start tomorrow morning at the Goldie River Training Depot outside Port Moresby. The PNGDF is assisting the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary in delivering a safe and secure APEC this year. During question time in Parliament, Northern Governor Gary Jufa asked the Police Minister on whether there are plans to revive 3 transnational crime entities within the RPNGC. According to the Governor, these bodies had been dismantled. Jufa's concerns come after the increase of transnational crimes in the country, through which he says certain foreigners are illegally entering the country for malicious purposes to destroy the country.
Good Minister inform us whether he has any intention of reviving these units, developing the necessary capacity so that they can conduct the investigations that are so very necessary.
A recent operation by Mount Hagen Police had seen a foreign-owned shop in Goroka confiscated of its stock goods, some outdated goods and fake products as well. Also found were stacks of unbanked cash, all in 50 and 100 kina notes, and bags of coins which were confiscated by the police. Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu questioned Police Minister Jelta Wong on the report of the investigation and the long-term efforts of the police work to carry out similar investigations in the country as well.
Foreign-owned companies must comply with them or laws, regulations below me. All must respect him, all people below you, all outdated goods, all must no can salim gen lo mipla. All counterfeit goods, Minosawe also help him government lo tax or no cut. Money all in no float him, all in no go bank him. All this plenty wrong is stuff inside. One plus supermarket that's all only go find him. Me believe plenty stuff inside the province below me too. Now lo country as a whole. So this pla suppose only burkim lo inside lo this investigation. Me like ministers responsible. Lo deport him all because all you know respect him. Law blow you me, now this black country blow you me.
Northern Governor Gary Jufa added that the crimes are mainly caused by transnational criminals and requested for police to reinstate a specific unit in the police force, which had worked together with other enforcement agencies.
Within the police department, there is a specific entity referred to as the Transnational Crimes Unit. That unit is supported by the National Criminal Intelligence Unit and the Asian Organized Crime Unit. These 3 entities have been basically dismantled and are no longer functioning to their fullest capacity.
Mr. Jufa also requested that the investigation efforts by police should extend to logging areas in the country where a series of illegal logging are taking place, especially in the Collingwood Bay area in his province.
I have written to the Commissioner to advise him on this issue, the transnational crime, to ask him to see what he can do to put it together. He's onto it now, and this goes for every illegal operation in Papua New Guinea.
Stacey Yallo, National, EMTV News.
Here with Wednesday's news, Public Employees Association executives undergo induction, and Comrade Trustees Limited announced their latest financial figures. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Newly elected executives of the Public Employees Association met in Port Moresby today for an induction program. According to PEA President Robert Kutupai, this is part of the organization's focus on how it can perform its role better to provide an effective voice for its members throughout the country. Newly elected national executives of the Public Employees Association gathered in Port Moresby today for an induction program. The induction on the eve of its first quarterly meeting under newly elected President Robert Kutupai. According to Mr. Kutupai, the induction was crucial in highlighting the roles and responsibilities of each NEC member during their 2-year term.
Certain issues that raised by our industrial registrar, especially to get our constitution in order and make sure that our constitution is in line with the Industrial Registrars Act. So that we can be able to seen as complying to the laws and legislations that are around.
Although the PEA had undergone sub-challenges in recent years, with a new national leadership in place, there is a focus now on restoring credibility to the organization with an aim to grow the membership base in the long term.
I want the members' interest to be the foremost interest that we must pursue, and that is to fight for their conditions of employment in the public sector. And apart from that, over the years, the union membership has declined, and one of our challenges will be bring back the interest of members, fight for their rights, increase the union membership, so that we can also encourage bargaining power. And one of the main issues that we want to pursue for, or some of the issues that we want to pursue for our members now will be the long outstanding housing issues, insurance and health care for our public service, high risk allowances. These are some of the long outstanding issues that our members have been asking for.
As part of the induction process, members were given an overview of their roles and responsibilities from various government agencies, including the Industrial Registrar and the Ombudsman Commission.
So we went through the election process to get our mandate back, and they are the current elected members of the National Executive, representing all the 4 regions and NCD. So they are very, very much aware and conscious of their responsibility as representatives or trustees of the members that have voted them in unions.
According to the PEA Secretary General, what has been learnt will be used as a guide in their conduct and discussions, beginning with the first quarterly meeting of the NEC, which begins tomorrow.
More or less critical for the union to get back to the members to get the mandate in order for the union to proceed and pursue the interests that are currently been mitigated by the association to more or less better the terms and conditions of employment in the public service.
Comrade Trustee Services Limited has announced its financial results for 2017. CTSL, which manages the Defence Force Retirement Benefit Fund, today announced a net surplus after tax of just over 47 million kina. On the back of this performance, the fund announced a crediting rate of 11.43% for its contributors. Various section heads of the PNG Defence Force gathered today at CTSL headquarters for the much-awaited announcement of results for 2017. CTSL, the trustee for the Defence Force Retirement Benefit Fund, had undergone some changes in the recent past, with 2017 marking the first full year of the fund's accumulation scheme. Prior to that, it had been primarily a pension fund for servicemen and ex-servicemen. In announcing the financial results, CTSL Chairman Moses Koiri acknowledged the difficult economic circumstances the country had to endure in 2017. However, prudent management had allowed the fund to post significantly positive results. These included a net surplus after tax of 47.18 million kina, total fund net asset growth to 563.79 million kina, fund growth rate of 9.62%, CPI indexation rate of 5.1%, management aspect ratio of 2.44%, and an increase in membership to 5,553 members. All these contributing to a positive crediting rate for members.
For the DFRBF contributing members of 11.43% for 2017.
According to Mr. Koiri, the positive results were due to prudent management of the fund, who undertook strategic investment across various sectors to ensure positive dividends.
I think it's been about investments. Yeah, we try to in close cooperation with our investment managers. We try to invest in areas that bring us better returns, and that has resulted in the results that we were able to announce today.
Whilst the fund has continued to perform well despite challenging economic times, the management is still wary of the continued challenging economic environment.
Of the investments with the super fund, because we use the same investment managers, so very similar. I think one of the things that we are doing that the other funds are not looking at yet is this housing scheme. With the housing scheme, that releases value in terms of value of land, the investments in the land. So some of that has also contributed towards our profits.
PNGDF Commander Gilbert Toropo was also present for the financial announcement and thanked the board and management of CTSL for a job well done in growing the fund despite difficult times.
Thank the board and the management for the prudent management despite the economic climate that the country has been through in 2017.
The overloading of heavy vehicles transporting goods along national highways is an issue being addressed by the national transport authorities and other stakeholders. Transport Secretary Roy Momo says the transport industry has to understand the impacts of overloading heavy vehicles on roads and bridges and comply with the rules. A heavy vehicle loading workshop started in Leh today to discuss and find better solutions to these problems.
This is the second workshop to be held under the APAC Transport Working Group project. It is sponsored by the PNG government and supported by the Australian government. The workshop has brought together the authorities and stakeholders in the transport industry.
The project was initiated together with Department of Transport, Papua New Guinea, the National Roads Authority, Papua New Guinea, and the Road Traffic Authority, Papua New Guinea.
The overloading of heavy vehicles causes damages to roads and infrastructure. The road damages are evident along the Highlands highways. Mr. Mumu said the impacts of overloading heavy vehicles have to be understood by the transport industry. This can be done through meetings and awareness.
One of the desires as an outcome of this workshop is hopefully we can get the truck onto the new weighbridge and see what sort of loads they are carrying. That will be done towards the end of the forum tomorrow.
Peter Frontfelder from Vics Road, Australia, says incidents of overloading heavy vehicles is a worldwide problem. Through this workshop, they are hoping to identify ways this can be dealt with.
The community, the road agencies and the transport operators can work together to develop processes to be able to ensure that the incidence of overloading is reduced. So it's a combined effort from all concerned. It's not.
We are together and we're a part and parcel of the industry, them as service providers, but we as regulators and managers of assets, we need to work together.
Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Leh.
Ahead on National MTV News, Dinero Raiko gives us a preview of Team PNG at the Commonwealth Games. That's up next on Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games is expected to begin at 8 p.m. this evening, which will officially mark the start of the Games. Papua New Guinea is among 71 other countries to walk out tonight at the Carrara Stadium on the Gold Coast. MTV's Diniros Raiko caught up with Team PNG Chef de Mission, Tamsin Wadley, earlier today.
10 sporting codes to compete in, over 50 Team PNG athletes and officials are now in the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games village. And this evening's opening ceremony will see PNG's female para-athlete Veronime bear the PNG flag with the team in tow. While the team celebrates its presence at the Games, day one of competition tomorrow will see the likes of Rachel Sepiri-James in triathlon and Moria Baru along with Telma Toa in weightlifting break the ice as they vie to medal for PNG.
So day one is a really big day for Team PNG. So we've got 3 athletes who are in their final events tomorrow. We've got Rachel Sapri-James in the triathlon, first event for the Games. So she's first up in the morning, and then we have 2 weightlifters tomorrow. We've got Thelma Toa in the afternoon, and then Maria Badu at the 6:30 session for weightlifting. So we're hoping to get as many of the team there as possible to support Maria. We've also got a number of our other sports starting their heats tomorrow. So lawn bowls, swimming and boxing all start their competitions tomorrow.
The team is also expecting the Rugby Sevens outfit, the PNG Pukpuks, to join them shortly from the Hong Kong Sevens.
Yeah, just to join in and watch us. Join us on social media. We've got our hashtag Team PNG 2018. Please send your well wishes to the team through the hashtag, and we'll make sure that they get them. And please just join in and enjoy the fun. The team belongs to PNG, so we want everyone to be part of it.
71 countries will be competing at this edition of the Commonwealth Games, and Gold Coast will be one very busy city for the next 11 days, starting with this evening's opening ceremony. Diniros Raiko, National, MTV Sports, Gold Coast, Australia.
Meanwhile, Aboriginal protesters have blocked the Queen's Baton relay ahead of its final stage on the Gold Coast. Stars and athletes were left waiting as the route had to be redirected.
It had to be halted after a group of Indigenous protesters blocked the planned route, stranding officials in a car park.
We're calling on the Commonwealth heads of every nation that has come here to demand of Malcolm Turnbull to initiate a truth commission.
It was delayed for about an hour while organisers worked out a new route around the blockade. Swimming champion Lisa Curry among those carrying it this afternoon. This morning it was Ironman champion Trevor Hendy taking the baton to the waves off Surfers Paradise, passing it to his son TJ and then to the Gold Coast's own Sally Pearson, proud to be in front of a home crowd but taking it easy on that troublesome Achilles tendon. What does it mean to be here in front of the home crowd?
It's a huge honour, and it's absolutely fantastic that I guess the whole sort of surfers community can come out here and really appreciate the Queen's Baton relay. I won't be pushing the wall, that's for sure. I'll be enjoying it and soaking up the atmosphere.
There'll be plenty of that at tonight's opening ceremony. A crowd of 35,000 people will be packing Carrara Stadium to see the performances and our athletes parading in. And as you'd imagine, they can't wait.
I think a highlight will actually be sort of marching out, with all the rest of the athletes.
I wouldn't miss that experience for anything.
A bit of a hiccup today for organisers, a misprint in the official program that puts England in Africa, hoping that things will run much more smoothly for tonight's opening ceremony of the 21st Commonwealth Games here on the Gold Coast.
And just a reminder, MTV will be telecasting the opening ceremony of the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games that begins at 8 p.m. this evening. So keep tuning into MTV. Still to come in Trukai Sports, some updates on rugby league, football and hockey. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To Rugby League now, the Lace Snacks Tigers are looking forward to a challenging season this year. Tigers coach Stanley Tappen said they've lost and gained a few key people in the team, but are keen to take on this season. Preparations for the team kicked off this year with the Melanesian Cup, followed by 3 trial matches. A dinner launch was hosted last night for the Lace Next Tigers team, marking the start of the 2018 National Rugby League Intercity Cup competition. Mr. Teppen says the team's biggest goal is to bring home the cup again as the defending champions. He says with a younger squad this year, the season is expected to be tougher compared to the last 2. The team won 2 of the 3 trial matches and are ready to play their first 2018 season match on Saturday here in Port Moresby. To football now, and Toti City Dwellers round 10 4-2 victory over newcomers Morbe Wawens ensured the defending champions their 3rd minor premier title. The match was played at the Sir Ignatius Kilage Stadium in Lae over the weekend.
The Dwellers win may well seal their 3rd minor premiership title in the National Soccer League competition. The Lae-based side has been consistent with their performance throughout the season.
It's almost like wrapping up the minor premiers for the, I think, for the third time now. We also want to be the champion again this year. We have the players and we have the right attitude to win this minor premiers and the champion.
The victory, however, did not come easy.
And we expected these guys to give us a very, very strong game, and it really happened now. That has lifted us.
The return of star-studded striker Nigel Debinyaba was acknowledged by coach Peter Gunemba, who praised his forwards for overwhelming the opponent's territory with firepower.
I'm very proud with especially the attacking front. Like today, we believe we could have scored 6 or 7 goals, but then we didn't. The boys didn't put it behind the back of the net. So as it is, we are satisfied with the result of the game today.
However, the men in blue were equal to the task at some stage. A bit of structure in their game allowed them to score through Jason Farrak. But again, the big names of the game had the last say on the day. Debinyaba scored his first through a penalty conceived by Raymond Gunemba and his second from Gunemba's cross. Gunemba increased his goal-scoring tally with another double, taking his side home with a 4-2 victory. Wawens' second placing behind Dwellers on the points ladder was not a mistake. Their second goal was skillfully crafted. More goals like this from Jason Farrak and his side, and they could go all the way to the finals. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Still on football, the road to OFC Champions League quarterfinals has been steady for National Soccer League champions Toti City Dwellers. Dwellers coach Peter Gunemba said his team has improved a lot in some key areas and now look forward to the Champions League. They will face Team Wellington in the O-League quarterfinals in Auckland, New Zealand this Saturday.
It's a problem. Oh, and that's why.
According to Peter Gunemba, treating every game with precision and a clear vision to make clinical decisions in high-pressed moments of the game are vital for his charges. The Toti City Dwellers are close to an O-League quarterfinals berth against New Zealand's Team Wellington.
Because it's not here, but our focus will be shifted to the Champions League quarterfinals in Auckland. We have a fair idea of how they are playing, and we have the confidence that we will give them a run for their money.
He adds that working as a unit defensively is key in winning matches in high-level competition, such as the OFC Champions League, something which the 3-time NSL winning coach knows all about.
As we play in a higher level of tournament, the competition, the boys have to, they have to really raise themselves up to meet our expectation, how best we can play against this Wellington.
Whilst preparations have gone relatively well, his team could lose the service of a couple of his starting players through visa problems.
Tutijama, Tanito and Andrew Rangia, they should come here by Tuesday, Wednesday, but then now it's a problem with the visa. So I will probably take 14 or 15 players.
Tanito Tutizama, the Solomon Islands charging forward, has his work cut out for him in the Champions League, combining well with Nigel Debinyaba and Raymond Gunemba. The trio proved unstoppable for Lae City Dwellers.
Actually, we should go with 21 players, 17 players and 4 officials. But then now one of our players here is struggling to, he lost his passport in Vanuatu. No, he had his passport this weekend, and hopefully we will fast track his visas. I don't know how best we can do it, but
Emmanuel Simon, on the other hand, is a key figure in the midfield. His partnership with Jacob Sabua has already gained recognition from the competition. Playing with his full-strength team on the day or reshuffling the players to suit his game plan, the NSL top coach has done it all before and looks to do the same in the region's top competition.
And that's a cutback. It must surely end up in the back of the net.
Shane Saroya, National, EMTV Sports.
PNG Hockey Federation, in partnership with the PNG Sports Foundation and NCDC, will host the Oceania Youth Olympic Qualifier from the 25th to the 28th of this month. Chairman Thomas Kahai says preparations for the event is underway and players will start training tomorrow.
For the first time this year, PNG Hockey Federation will host the Hockey Oceania Youth Olympic Qualifiers in Port Moresby. PNG will play host to 4 other countries: Australia, Tonga, Vanuatu and Solomon Islands.
PNG under the Youth Olympic Qualifier and under the Oceania events, this is the first time PNG will host the junior event, and we are really pleased to see that Oceania Hockey Federation has supported the PNG bid in hosting the event, and we're looking forward to putting up a good preparation and also supporting our team into the event come 25th to 28th of April.
Thomas says while preparations are currently underway, players for the PNG side will be arriving tomorrow to start their training in Port Moresby. All players attending the training camp were identified from the recent PNG games in Kimbe. He says the training of the players will be monitored closely in order for PNG Hockey Federation to make final selections.
Putting the cost together, we anticipating around about 300,000-400,000 on the cost, especially with the upgradation of the venue overlays and also the work around the venues that we have also engaged service providers to come up with it.
He says it is also from the event individuals will be selected to attend the Youth Olympic Games in October this year.
By this week, all the teams will be in training, and hopefully by next week, the teams will be selected and announced. And then that's it, they go into the next couple of weeks in preparation for the games. This stage, Port Moresby has been the base training. Teams selected the reps and representatives will come from Ley, East New Britain, West New Britain. They all should be here by Friday, and I go into the training camp for the next week before the selections should be announced by at least Thursday, Friday next week.
Godwin Eki, National, EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. We'll have for you the weather details when we come back. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Some showers and thunderstorms expected in Port Moresby, some showers in Daru, a few showers as well for Kerema, Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momasa region, fine, although partly cloudy for Ley, fine as well for Wau, mostly fine for Medang, Wibak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, a shower or two for Buka, mostly fine for Lorengau, Keviang, Kokpo, Rabaul and Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabe can expect a shower or two over the next 24 hours with morning fog.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And before we go, a recap of our top stories this evening. Security forces cracking down on illegal firearms in Tari. Government signs 3 million kina grant from ADB for priority relief, and phones making it easier to report misconduct by public officials. And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday the 4th of April 2018. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.